There was a season of my life when I smiled for everyone else but cried when nobody was watching. People thought I was okay because I still showed up. I still laughed at the right moments. I still answered, "I'm fine," whenever someone asked how I was doing. But inside, I felt like I was slowly disappearing. Depression didn't arrive with a loud announcement. It crept into my life quietly. It stole my motivation before it stole my joy. It stole my joy before it stole my hope. Then, it tried to convince me it would eventually steal my future. Every morning felt heavier than the last, and every night I wondered if tomorrow would feel any different. The hardest part wasn't the sadness. It was believing that the sadness would never end. But I stand here today because it did end. Not in one miraculous morning. Not because life suddenly became perfect, but because I chose to fight back one small decision at a time. These are the 10 steps that slowly brought me back to life. Step 10. I stopped pretending I was fine. For years I became an expert at hiding. I perfected the fake smile. I mastered the short answers. I convinced myself that admitting I was struggling somehow made me weak. One day I looked in the mirror and realized I had been lying to everyone. Especially myself. I whispered out loud, "I'm not okay." Oddly enough, those 4 words became the first honest breath I had taken in months. Healing began the moment I stopped performing and started telling the truth. Step 9. I forced myself to leave the house. Depression wanted me isolated. It wanted my bedroom to become my entire world. Some mornings I didn't even want to open the curtains. So I made one small promise. Every day, no matter how I felt, I would step outside. Sometimes it was only a 10-minute walk around the block. Sometimes I simply sat on a park bench watching life continue around me. I discovered something powerful. The world was still full of light even when my mind felt dark. Step 8. I started taking care of my body before my mind believed it was worth it. I didn't have the energy to train like an athlete. I simply started moving. 1 walk became 2. 2 became short workouts. I drank more water. I slept better when I could. I ate meals instead of skipping them. My body became the first part of me that believed healing was possible. Eventually, my mind followed. Step 7. I changed what I fed my mind. Every morning I reached for my phone before I reached for hope. Negative news, endless scrolling, comparison. It all quietly deepened the darkness. I made a difficult decision. I replaced some of that noise with books, uplifting conversations, prayer, music that gave me peace, and time away from screens. I realized my mind was becoming whatever I fed it every day. Step 6. I stopped believing every thought I had. Depression became an expert storyteller. It told me I wasn't enough. It told me nobody cared. It told me nothing would ever change. One afternoon, I caught myself believing another one of those lies and asked a simple question. Where's the evidence? I couldn't find any. That was the beginning of separating my thoughts from reality. Just because my mind whispered something didn't mean it deserved to become truth. Step 5. I asked for help. This may have been the hardest step of all. I had convinced myself I needed to solve everything alone. Then I finally opened up to someone I trusted. I expected judgment. Instead, I found compassion. I learned that strength isn't carrying every burden by yourself. Strength is knowing when to let someone help you carry it. That conversation became one of the turning points of my life. Step 4. I started living one day at a time. Depression overwhelmed me because I kept trying to solve my entire future before breakfast. I worried about next month, next year, and every possible worst-case scenario. Then I began asking a different question. What is one good thing I can do today? Sometimes that meant taking a shower. Sometimes it meant answering one email. Sometimes it meant simply getting out of bed. Small victories slowly became bigger victories. Step 3. I found purpose again. Depression convinced me my life had no meaning. So I started serving other people. I encouraged friends. I volunteered when I could. I listened more. I gave more. I discovered something beautiful. While I was helping someone else carry their burden, mine became lighter too. Purpose didn't erase my pain, but it gave my pain a direction. Step 2. I chose gratitude. even on the hardest days. At first, gratitude felt impossible. What was I supposed to be thankful for when I could barely make it through the day? Then I began writing down one thing every evening, one sunset, one conversation, one meal, one laugh, one answered prayer, one quiet moment. My circumstances didn't immediately change, but my perspective slowly did. Gratitude became the flashlight that helped me find hope in places I had stopped looking. Step 1. I finally believed my story wasn't over. This changed everything. Depression had convinced me I was reading the last chapter of my life when, in reality, I was only reading a difficult page. I stopped identifying myself as a depressed person and started seeing myself as a person walking through depression. There is a difference. One becomes your identity. The other becomes your season. If your faith is important to you, this was also the moment I leaned into the belief that God had not abandoned me, even when I couldn't feel His presence. I stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and began asking, "What strength is this season building in me?" That single shift gave me hope that healing was possible. Today, when I look back at the person I used to be, I don't feel shame. I feel compassion. I realize I was fighting a battle nobody else could fully see. Depression taught me that healing is rarely dramatic. More often, it looks like choosing to keep going when every emotion tells you to quit. It looks like getting out of bed one more time, taking one more walk, saying one more prayer, making one more phone call, believing in one more tomorrow. If my journey has taught me anything, it is this: darkness is convincing, but it is never permanent. The sunrise doesn't ask the night for permission to appear, it simply rises. So do we. Today I laugh again, I dream again, I hope again. Not because life became perfect, but because I became stronger just in the season that almost convinced me to stop living. My scars did not become symbols of defeat. They became proof that I survived. And if I could climb out of that darkness one step at a time, then there is hope that you can too. Sometimes the strongest person isn't the one who never falls. It's the one who decides again and again to stand back up and walk toward the light.